Hey everybody, Questwise here. It's the final day of the Palladium Books Open House 2018. I know I said this in the other videos, but I'm going to rally for another one because this has been an amazing experience. And if you guys haven't been able to make it out here, I really want you all to be able to come as well too. So we're going to try to shoot for that. I'm really going to push for it and try to rally the fans around it and the staff and everything as well. So keep your hopes up for that. Keep an eye out for that as well too. But if you did make it here, I'd love to hear from you and hear what you thought of the thing. We're doing an interview series. Today I have the honor, and I'm going to fan out a little bit here because Mr. Chuck Walton is my favorite Palladium artist by far. It always has been, and I am very, very honored to be able to call him a friend now, and it's a great pleasure. So, Chuck, please, let's talk about like how did you get involved with Palladium? Like how did you get here?
Well, Jody, first of all, I'm very humble. Palladium Books has a deep roster of great talent, inspiration. From the starting point of Kevin Long and Keith Parkinson. The Parkinson cover alone was what really just got me so fired up with imagination. So it wasn't hard. Getting and looking at the Riffs cover of the Keith Parkinson with the Splugor Slaver and just wondering what the heck is this, and what company is this? I mean, I've played other RPGs. I'm a huge fan. Go way back to Red Box Dungeons and Dragons and Star Frontiers.
Sure.
But this was something just taking it to the next level, and so I instantly became a fan of Palladium Books, and then when they got the Robotech on top of it, for me it was like, okay, this is it, So I was role-playing my own games and things of that nature until I met one of the artists, Mark Dudley, at a comic book convention.
Okay.
And at that time, they were known under a flagship called Drunken Style Studios. And so Mark, me and him became great friends in the comic book scene. And so he's like, hey, would you like to do some artwork for Palladium Books? It's like, are you asking me? Or, you don't even have to ask, man. Right. So, we started doing different odds jobs here and there. And so, I would do pencils and then someone else would do inks and things of that nature. And it just kind of branched on from there. Just kept getting more and more assignments. And I think the biggest takeoff for me was the Splicers source book.
Sure.
That was, Chuck, he was like, Mark was like, Chuck, this book has your name written all over it because I'm a creature guy.
Sure.
And so, I've not turned back since.
Nice. And Chuck actually is the guy who turned me on to Splicers a couple of years ago at Grand Con up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I know I played a lot of the Palladium stuff. I was a huge fan of Riffs. My first one I ever played was Heroes Unlimited and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and done all those and branched down to a few of the other ones and stuff. And I'm standing at the booth and I say, what is the game that you love the most that I should try out? And he said, Splicers. Like, there was no question in your mind. It was Splicers. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, it's got an interesting premise. I took it home and I devoured the book, and it is by far one of my favorites. And I love the stuff that you're doing with it. And I was lucky enough, Chuck was able to draw this cool Splicer character in the front of it for me and stuff. But really, really great stuff. Now, how does the creative process work with like you and Palladium? I know you work. You're the in-house artist, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Chuck works here full time and works very tightly with Kevin, and you'll hear that in other interviews with Kevin is how he and Chuck bounce ideas off each other and create new stuff, content all the time. But how does that creative process work? Do you guys like have meetings, or does like Kevin come to you and say, hey, I got this cool idea, what can we make it look like? Or do you do the opposite? Do you like come up with a crazy creature concept and be like, hey, this would be a cool source book? Or
actually, all of the above.
Okay.
There are times, and it depends on the actual source book. There are times where Kevin will have a script. Case in point, the Lemuria. There was a character OCC that is like a sea serpent hunter, and they ride sea serpents. And so there was, in that script, there was given multiple sea serpents, but in the description, it also said in other sea creatures. But we didn't have sea creatures, so Kevin came to me and was like, hey, draw 5-7 different creatures and he wrote stats for them. So that's one process where there's no written description, and I just go on a tangent and come up with different creatures, and he'll select what he likes. And sometimes I write, if I'm doing the design process, I may write details to kind of help him along with the inspiration or what I was thinking at the time.
Nice.
Whether he takes it or leaves it, it doesn't matter. I know whatever comes out is going to be awesome for,
sure.
We think of what the gamers want. Other times there's meetings where we specifically are aiming for something.
Okay.
And so we will go bounce ideas back and forth and even, test it out with different, players, different freelancers, get their intake on it. And then there's times even where I like to go through the forums because our gamers are to me, a key element in making them happy. And so, you'd be surprised at some of the amazing talent that is on the Palladium Books forums. And they will say, hey, it'd be great if we could get this, or, it'd be awesome if they would look into doing this. And it's like, they have a point. And I think, we should try to strive to satisfy that niche or that concept or, and so, I will bring those ideas to Kevin and say, hey, what do you think of, we come up with mecha that does this instead of everything being combat oriented, and we'll bounce those ideas around.
Nice, very nice. So what would you say is your favorite product or project that you've worked on for Palladium?
Ooh.
Or do you have a favorite? Multiples?
There's multiples. There's some things that I cannot disclose because they're actually under NDA and pitch production as we speak, which I'm extremely excited about. And then there's just things that hit home and hit hard,
Yeah.
So, Northern Gun was one that just was, at that time, I was really, really ecstatic about how it was coming together, how it was just developing the world from the fluff side of the coin, and just what it did for the tech side of it. And then they were, working with a good team of people trying to get product for the Laszlo. And so, so that hit home with me as well. But definitely, Splicers, I think, is just my bread and butter. I mean, I think it's the most slept on project or IP that Palladium has. But then there's other ideas. I mean, there's just, Palladium Books and the fans, the freelancers, they all just have wonderful ideas. And so when you get to talking about them, especially even at the open house, you just get so fired up and inspired. So like for me now, I'm really wanting to do something with Heroes Unlimited.
Okay.
And really take that setting to the next level.
Bit of facts coming in. Sorry about that, everybody. No, that's awesome. That's great. If you guys haven't had a chance to meet Chuck, it's very hard to do. You walk up to his table and you're the only person there, and within 5 seconds there's 30 people. And I was taking a look at his notebook of stuff of your commissions for this weekend, and it looked like the notebook was full. So that's amazing. If you get do you do commissions like through the website? Like, do you do like?
I do commissions, but usually it gets pretty filled pretty quick. So I just have like so many slots, and then I have to stop because between regular production with Palladium Books and then some of my other freelance jobs that I do, I have some video game companies that I do work for in Japan. And then developing my own IP. So trying to budget that plus, life,
Yeah, sure,
there's just the balance. So, it's how much I can tackle and, feasibly, so people are usually doing commissions that aren't done at the convention. I have to let them know to be patient with me because it's going to be some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if like I said, if you haven't had a chance to interact with the Palladium crew or just the fans themselves, I've been playing games since I was 14 years old, and this is by far the best community of fans ever.
Yeah.
They are the kindest, the most open, the most welcoming kind of people. And I met people from all over the world today, this past weekend, and I felt like I've known them my entire life. Like, it's just that kind of a great thing. And Chuck is always so welcoming, and he's always so kind, and it's really fun to watch you. It's inspiring to me to watch you interact with the fans because you take your time with each and every one of them, and it's a really humbling thing to see, to watch you, listen intently to everything they do. And I've watched people come and show you their own artwork and stuff as well, too.
Yeah, I enjoy it. The Palladium Open House and, just there's something special with the Palladium Books fan base and the gamers in general, that there's just like a family camaraderie that you just get, and it's much down to earth. I mean, I've gone to many conventions, whether it's various comic book conventions or Gen Con, Adepticon, and they're all great, and they have their own aspects of it. With Gen Con, there's just so much to see.
Sure.
And so everyone's kind of bustling to get to the deals or get what they want to see that's new, or get to the games they want to get in. But with Palladium, it's like everyone's speaking the same language, and so the ideas or how they're spinning and taking on everything. I mean, meeting you at Grand Con, it was just like, oh, another long lost brother, Palladium Books, and it was just like awesome. And so, seeing you get excited, that that refuels me. And here we are now, quest wise, and you got campaigns going. It's like I'm like cheering them on, like Jody's doing it. So I mean, it's just it brings a joy, for a hobby that, man, I've been doing since I was a teenager, as a teenager in high school, and seeing people who are managing to still find a way to do it, keeping gaming groups together or branching out, implementing the technology of modern day into it. I mean, that's stuff that was not available at the time when we were starting off, and and so seeing how that's done and the incredible ideas. I mean, I don't want to start any wars out there, but in my humble opinion, of all the types of games that I play, I think Palladium Books fan base, as far as creativity, and the GMs, are just some of the most amazing, most innovative gamers that do true role playing. So I mean, it's major kudos to you guys that are constantly keeping the fire burning, just on the creativity and the playability. Seeing different guys gaming in the open house, and just the ideas of the different campaigns. I mean, I'm always amazed at what people are doing. It's like it's already a kamikaze of incredibleness of all the cool things we grew up on and are inspired by, but what you guys do with it in gameplay and how you embrace characters and story campaigns. I'm always feeling like there's another movie that I'm missing that I wish I could join in on, and
Yeah, and I think from the flip side of that coin too, I think that you and Kevin and the other freelancers and artists and writers and stuff give us those. I think you give us those seeds to germinate into those cool ideas. Like, I'm a very visual person, so the first thing that I look at in a Palladium product is the art, and I'm always instantly inspired. And I've told this to Kevin before, but in Adventures in the Northern Wilderness, which unfortunately is not in print, but go check out Wolf and Empire, because I just found out that most of that's back in there. And I always talk on the channel about, I wish they'd reprint this book, and they already have, unbeknownst to me. But there was a piece of art of this, I believe the character's name was Ripley. He was a wolfen who had this rune sword that wouldn't let him die, and the only way he could die and pass on and be happy was to be able to give the sword to somebody worthy. And just that little nugget of information in that picture, I've created entire adventures and campaigns around just kind of stuff. So, for people who are very visually oriented, Palladium has that for you. People who want, nuggets of plot hooks, there's all of that in there. And so thank you guys for giving us the inspiration to write all these cool things. So it's really awesome, like sort of like conglomeration of cooperation between the fans and the writers and artists and stuff.
It's
and,
very symbiotic.
so,
the feedback, the ideas, the concepts. It's very symbiotic. I mean, seeing because as a writer and as an artist, what may be good to us or our gaming group may not be the thing that jumps out to the general audience, and so you learn by trial and error and putting it out there and seeing what people really react off of. And then as you become seasoned in that, you begin to say, okay, these type of things typically, encourage or invoke this type of reaction. And so if you want something that is going to be useful for players, kind of know what players tend or have a tendency to lean towards these type of things, or things that provoke a fear. They don't always have to be the biggest MDC causing, thing to cause fear. There's certain things that can just make a player feel humbled. And you find those niches and crannies, and it comes from gameplay as well. That's at the end of the day, that's the best test there is. After so many games, this thing just really invokes this type of reaction.
And Kevin's always famous for saying, it's all about making sure you have fun. If you're not having fun, something's wrong. We need to fix it. And the whole goal of all these games, the whole Megaverse itself, is to make sure you're enjoying yourself and you're using your imagination to tell these stories and create these myths that will have lasting memories for your entire life. So, Chuck, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for letting me be here.
My ultimate goal in life now, and it's kind of funny, I have this checklist, a bucket list kind of thing. I got to check off a couple more of them this weekend. The next one that's on top of my list is I want to play in a game with Chuck. Whether I'm running it or he's running it or we're just playing together.
Well, maybe we're co-GMing together.
Co-GMing together. And actually, I talked to a couple people about that this weekend. I was playing in the game, and I leaned the guy next to me, and I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if we could, like, co-GM a giant game together? It'd be really awesome. So
I've already got the idea for it.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe that we'll have to set something up.
Bro, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jody, man.
I'm Questwise, and until next time, Chuck and I are out.
Subscribe and like. This guy's awesome. He's very humble. Man, it's an honor to be here. You guys keep gaming. Have fun. Appreciate you all. Have a great one.
Thank you.